Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of A Little Bit Woo. We are your hosts, Gemma and Kirsty, and today we are talking all about spring foraging. What is it? Take it away, Kirsty.
Have you been rustling a bush lately?
So now, have you?
I just wanted to talk about this topic because at the minute everything's looking really, really green and really, I don't know, it just feels really abundant, does nature.
Yeah,
And yeah, I've just been noticing that all the different herbs and plants are coming up that the horses really like to kind of forage for. So I thought it was quite a nice topic to be discussing, and maybe some of the benefits of some of the things that we can find.
I think there's a lot of situations where horses are being suppressed from a natural selective ability because of the environment that we put them in.
Oh yeah,
From you see a lot of liver yards and they have like the patchwork puzzle perfect lawn mode
well they have square
perfect.
postage stamps, don't they? And with single species grass growing in them.
Yeah,
And horses are meant to have a diverse selection, not just because somebody says so. It's because the gut microbiome actually needs that diversity in the gut to be able
absolutely.
to function correctly.
Yeah,
So really we shouldn't be grazing just on a single species sugary grass. We should have a diverse horses should have access to diversity, basically, just like we would. That's like just us eating pizza for the rest of his lives. And as much as I
I would
like
be very
pizza,
happy. I'm joking. You
I
get bored
don't
of it.
think we'd be very healthy as doing that.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think what I'm loving now is you see more and more companies turn into seasonal herb giving, so to speak,
Yeah.
in terms of
Mm.
uh, what a horse would naturally forage at certain times of the year.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I love to see how the industry is progressing
Yeah,
in
I
that way.
think, if we went down the route of feeds and things, I do actually think that the tables are turning a little bit, that they seem to be going more down a naturally approach. And like you say, that these things, they're not available all year round, are they? So um yeah, I don't think we should be feeding the same things all year round.
No, you should be feeding it, according to the winter. Sorry,
Well, it's
according to
cyclical,
the
isn't it?
season. Cyclical living.
Cyclical
Could be
living.
equines as well. I went on a course with a German nutritionalist slash biologist.
Oh, cool.
Um, and one of the things that she said as well, this is a bit slightly off topic, but she did actually produce her own selective seasonal herbs for the horses.
Mm.
And one of the things that came up in the course was, which makes so much sense to me, and it's something I've probably done without really thinking about it, talking about like gut microbiome and everything. And in terms of supplementation, there should you should obviously supplement per season, but then also um not keeping them on anything consistently.
Yeah.
So if you feed a certain type of supplement, give them 2 weeks off and then feed it again.
Yeah.
But if you think about like having the space, it's a bit like us, isn't it? Your body doesn't get immune to it then, if that makes any sense.
Mhm. Yeah. The body's not getting used to it being in the system, are they? So it then has the beneficial effects, I think. I mean, I'm not. That's not what I'm an expert in.
No, me
But
neither. We're just
it
speaking
makes
from
sense, doesn't it? That
experiences.
actually, if we go back to how nature intends things to be, things aren't available all
Yeah.
year round.
No.
You know, we have mass abundance of things coming up now, but things that are growing now, we won't have in 2 months' time, but then
Yeah.
there'll be something else coming up. And then again, 2 months down the line, even through like spring, summer, there's not something available all the way through. We'll have lots of seeds and berries, you know, in the summer, which aren't there now. The plants are flowering now, and then they'll turn to seed and berries, won't they? So, yeah, I think it's something to consider, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
I love how as well, you know, if you give a horse the option that, you know, they can be selective, and they're natural selective healers anyway, aren't they?
yeah.
But what I also love is like, well, my horses do it as well. When they pop off the tops of the milk thistle,
Oh yeah.
how like I don't know what it is, but the way my horse Cal does that, it's the cutest thing. His little lip wraps around the top, and he's just like, pop.
Yeah, so there used to be a lady who walked a dog up where I used to have Elmo, and she she'd remembered him from the year before, and when the thistles had started coming out in like August time, isn't it, that thistles come out, she was like, oh, is he going for the thistles again? And she was mesmerized by how he like moved his lips away and just kind of used his teeth to pop it
Yeah,
off, and so he didn't prickle his teeth. And she was like, that's amazing. I was like, oh, they're so clever, aren't they? I think it's amazing, like when you watch them eat, and they literally can like sieve out a certain thing in the feed bucket, and
yeah,
you're just like, wow. Like,
yeah,
imagine us trying to do that with our lips,
yeah,
without as hands or as eyes. Like, they can't see what's in the bucket, can they? And it just fascinates me that they can
uh,
just move it all with the lips and sieve it out.
yeah,
But so when I was driving today, I was down in Leicestershire, and there was the whole road was just lined with hawthorn trees, and the amount of flower on them at the minute, it
yeah,
almost looked like they were snowed on, and the it's almost like the branches were so heavy with the snow that they were like almost sinking. There's just so many flowers on them
wow,
at the minute. It's just crazy. So that's kind of what brought me to want to talk about foraging things today, because everything just looks very tasty at the minute. So the thing I've seen lots of coming up just this week as well is cow parsley.
oh yeah,
So
love a bit of cow
it's so
parsley.
weird, isn't it? Because it's such a tall plant, not to be mistaken with hemlock, which is poisonous. So it's the finer one with the white flowers on the top, like bunches of flowers. Um, and it just fascinates me that everything was kind of dead and gone, like about 4 weeks ago, and then all of a
Just
sudden
sprouts up
there's
out of
this four
nowhere.
foot plant with white flowers on it. Like, where the hell did that just grow from? But I
Crazy.
was letting Elmo have a bit of a forage when he came out of the arena the other day, and straight for it, straight for the cow parsley. Um, so yeah, that is one of it. That's his springtime favourite, and then later on in the year, the thistle tops are his summertime favourite. But cow parsley is actually really good for digestion.
Yeah,
Um, I think it's got wound healing properties. I think it's quite similar to fennel in its properties, what it
right.
offers. Um, but yeah, they go crazy for cow parsley. Um, the other thing that I mentioned, obviously, with the hawthorn, so they can eat hawthorn and they will eat hawthorn. So our arena is actually surrounded by hawthorn
Yeah,
trees. So in winter, when we're doing like liberty things and stuff, like there's not really anything for him to eat. So he's quite happy to just come around with me. But this time of year, when everything's lush and green, um, there seems to be a daddy or chips decision made by Elmo as to whether he wants Hawthorn or Mummy. Not Daddy or Chips, Mummy or Hawthorn.
oh,
And I will admit that the Hawthorn sometimes takes precedent. But yeah, the Hawthorn that's got really good cardiovascular properties. I think
yeah.
it's documented to be good for like circulation and
Mm.
things, lowering blood pressure.
Cal goes
Um
crazy for it.
Yeah, and it's funny. when I've been down in the Midlands this week, um, one of the girls has got she's got a giant. I think he's 3 now, and he's like 18 hands. He's huge. He's like a giant dinosaur, and he was reaching really, really high into the hawthorn bush, but it was like too high for anything else to reach. But he was like, reaching right up to them top branches to get the tasty bits. But it's fascinating watching his body as well, because obviously horses aren't just meant to eat off of the floor.
No.
They are browsers, so
Yeah.
they will eat high up, and they will eat,
Well, Sharon May Davis talks about variable
yeah, she does
eating
variable feeding
positions.
positions, yeah. And she reckons that when we're rehabbing horses, that actually giving them variable feeding positions exercises the body in a way that it puts different pressures through limbs and things. So
Yeah.
if you're rehabbing like a hind limb, then they will, if they're eating from high up, then they'll have to weight bear more onto that hind limb, but not constantly, which I find quite cool. And utilizing that as a rehab exercise without actually having to do an exercise. Well,
it's passive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is, I think, from a postural standpoint, is just as important.
Well, it makes you, a lot of people feed from hair nets, which are just kind of like a head height as such, aren't they? But then I think there was quite a big kind of shift to people feeding from the floor, because they said that's more natural. But actually,
I used to have 3
3
in different places at different heights.
Yeah, well, I've got different ones. And he has, when he is in overnight in winter, he has loose hay lower down, then he has a net which is higher up, and then he has things higher up than that as well.
Yeah.
So, and different places in the stable.
Yeah.
So he's actually having to move around as well, which mimics more of what they do in the wild, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, they aren't meant to be eating from hoof level all the time.
No.
And I think it's a really useful thing to have them kind of challenge the body in different ways like that. They're almost doing their own kind of stretches as well, aren't they? Which, again, is a lot more natural than kind of asking them to come round and stretch. They're just kind of utilizing that mobility in the bodies just by eating. We try to recreate all these things, don't we? And actually, if we just let them be horses and put them in an environment that would be more like what they'd find in the wild, then actually they do their own rehab.
But it was interesting,
and their own
when
exercises.
we were in the New Forest and we went for that walk and watching the horses, how they were eating.
Yeah, the New Forest ponies on the gorse.
Can't say the word now.
Browsing.
Grazing.
Browsing.
Browsing posture.
Yeah. Yeah, they were nibbling a bit of grass, weren't they? And then there was a lot of gorse down there, weren't there? So they were kind of chest height eating. But yeah, I think it's just something we need to consider when that is an environment that horses would live in. And a lot of the time we're just feeding from the floor.
And also, for if you're in an environment where you haven't got accessibility to hedges and herbages, so to speak, that the horse could naturally have access to, find ways that you can actually
go pick it.
What are those little balls that you can hang rubber? They're like little rubber holey balls, and you can stick stuff in.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
You can get them and put cow parsley in.
Yeah.
Another thing that I find really interesting is obviously the nettles are growing now.
Yeah.
Now, I always find it interesting about when they go to start eating the nettles. So Cal and Dolly, you'll find that they'll start eating nettles mid to late summer. Obviously, nettle is such a liver tonic, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's almost like the way I see it is Because what I do is I go out. There's nettles in the field, so I'm like, leave them.
Mm,
And then I'll go around the garden and chop nettles, dry them,
mm,
and put the nettles out
mm,
and just leave them on the floor
yeah.
in a big pile. And you can guarantee that at some point they will disappear.
It's interesting you say that because I've offered nettles to Elmo and he's never touched them. At any point has he ever touched them?
Never to at any time, never.
Nope.
That's
I've offered them a lot.
interesting.
Yeah, because I used to have, well, I seem to be really good at growing weeds in my garden, but not flowers. So whenever I ever chop the nettles, I'd take them to the yard and he'd just, yeah, they just wouldn't get touched. But I tell you what he does love, which I used to pull out of the garden, sticky willy or cleavers.
Sticky Willy.
That's what it's called, sticky willy. It's the sticky weed that sticks to
Sticky
you.
weed.
No, sticky willy.
Okay.
One of my clients once said to me, she went, "Have you ever put sticky willy in water and had sticky willy juice?"
Oh.
Apparently, it's really good for you. So they're really good for cleavers. We'll call them
It's
cleavers.
lymphatic, isn't it?
Yeah, lymphatics and it's diuretic, so really good for filled legs. And yeah, retained fluid in inflammation. So as much as cleavers aren't available through winter, I do feed Elmo cleavers in winter.
Yeah, I think cleavers is a
Just to
really
help
good
with
one
his
for stabled
circulation.
horses.
Yeah, really good. And all the horses, I
And
think.
marigold?
Yeah, marigold and cleavers. I think they work together,
Yeah,
don't
they
they?
work together quite nicely.
Yeah. What else have I noticed growing at the minute? That the horses go for. Oh, willow. They like a bit of willow. I think that's an anti-inflammatory as willow. I think it can be a bit of a painkiller as well. I don't actually think we've got any willow in the field, but I have seen they like to just take the ends off. I know people that'll like just cut bits of willow as well and let the horses kind of gnaw on the twigs. And it's so easy to grow with willow as well. So if you cut a cutting off of willow, it's actually got self-rooting properties within it. So you can literally just shove a piece of willow cutting into the ground and it will just root and start to grow. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can buy whips of willow, which is just like a cutting of willow, and yeah, you just shove them in the ground. And I'm not guaranteed they're gonna all grow, but it's pretty much free, that, isn't it? If you just go and prune a willow and grow your own willow.
So I also love how obviously, different herbages, call it.
Herbages.
I love it.
Herbagerba.
Grow at different times. So I was like, dandelions are everywhere at the moment.
Oh yeah.
I was like, but what is the property? Like, what's the healing property of dandelions?
Mm,
How ironic is this? So they're all over at the moment.
yeah.
Dandelions provide an excellent support of the liver and kidneys, high in vitamin A, B, C, and D, and rich in potassium, magnesium, and calcium, a natural electrolyte. And dandelions also promote joint mobility.
That's really interesting. Well, it's not, is it? Because that's Mother Nature. But the fact that dandelions come up now when the horses' liver
Going
and
into spring
kidneys,
graft.
yeah, are under
How
pressure.
many people would detox the horses? I know I would
Yeah,
normally. Now I normally do like L94
yeah.
from Trinity.
Trinity Consultants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I genuinely didn't know that about dandelions.
No, I knew that they had some kind of good
Well,
property because
yeah, 'cause
obviously the
horses are
horses seek
eating
them
them.
out, don't they? But I didn't know that. But it's interesting about the electrolytes as well because obviously the sun, they open up more in the sun to the dandelions, so they're probably more appealing when they're open, and that's when the horses would need more electrolytes because of the heat. Yes, we are pulling those faces at each other right now. Those
Oh,
moments of realization, like, oh my God. I
you
feel
know,
like we
I
learned
think
so much on this podcast.
we are our own automobile university.
Well,
Don't you ever
yeah,
skip
when
my
I listen to
automobile
it back in the
university.
car.
Because we do that shit. I do. Okay, so now I'm on a rabbit hole now. All I want to do now is Google all the different things. Well, I genuinely didn't know that about dandelions.
No, that's really interesting.
Um, what else is growing at the moment?
Everything is growing at the
Well,
moment.
yeah,
Grass. I'm just thinking what
not
else I've
necessarily
seen them
healthy.
eating out of the hedgerows. It seems to be more the hawthorn than anything.
Yeah,
Um,
I think.
I tell you what, I do have growing in my garden, but it's not for them to eat yet. Rose hips.
Mm,
So I have a rose hip bush in the garden. And last year I basically pulled 2/3 of the rose hips, the berries, off of the bush and dried them. So I literally took them in the house and just put them on kitchen roll and then just put them near the radiator and they just dried out.
cool.
So I can technically feed them all year round now. But funny, some horses will take rose hips as a fresh rose hip, but they won't have them dried, and likewise the other way around. Oh, I tell you what else was interesting. So when I was on the old yard where Elmo was, there was a raspberry bush growing in the field.
Oh,
So it came over from the neighbour's garden and it had just kind of spread into the field. And they completely stripped it.
really?
But when you look at the properties of a raspberry, it's the raspberry leaf that they were going for. When you look at the properties of that, it's more for hormones for mares. That's kind of what it is marketed at. If you were to buy raspberry leaf, it'd be for like a mare, a hormonal mare. But they were all geldings in the field. So I found that really interesting that they'd completely stripped the plant. So we're obviously getting something from it,
Yeah.
whether it was just a high.
Well, no, because they have hormones as well, don't they? So,
Yeah, yeah.
I think what's undeniable is
There's so much free stuff out there. We'll buy all these
yeah,
supplements. And it really makes me laugh when people are like, "Oh yeah, well I've got this supplement from so and so and this supplement from so and so." And I'm like, "Can I have a look at the box or the tub?" And the first thing I do with anything now, feed, supplements, anything, look at the ingredient list. Don't look at the marketing on the front of it, look at the ingredient list. And I can guarantee the ingredients are just herbs that you can get hold of.
yeah,
So it's fascinating, like I say about the rose hips, that you they can do the hard work for you. They can pick them and dry them and everything, but you're going to pay a premium for it. Whereas there's rose hip bushes just growing in nature. So if you can go out with a tub and pick some rose hips, then it's free. If you can go out and pick some cleavers for your horse, it's free.
yeah,
Or even better, take your horse out for a walk and let him pick whatever he wants, and it's like going to a sweet shop. And it's I quite like going out on Elmo this time of all through summer, and just if we get somewhere and I can see there's something that's quite abundant with different things that might be beneficial to him, I'll just let him have a little graze for a bit. And some people would say that that's really bad manners, in inverted commas, for a horse to be eating while you ride him. But
no,
just think of what he can be getting there for free. 5 minutes of doing a little bit of foraging for himself. I
mm,
mean, I'm very lucky in the field that he's in because there is so much diversity in there. In terms of trees and what's growing on the ground, there's patches that are boggy and they've got rushes, and he goes in there and he eats in there, and then you find him in all different parts of the field, and I feel like he is getting a really diverse mix of things. But I still think it's nice for him to be able to go out and pick what he wants, just like you going
yeah,
in a shop and picking maybe what you want or
yeah,
need.
yeah,
Want or need.
Yeah. I think one of the things we want to do as well, at some point, is get Amelia on the podcast, if
Yeah,
we
well,
can
that's
pin her
where the want
down.
or need came from then, because she was really interested with the herb testing,
Yeah,
wasn't she?
so Amelia does herb testing where, well, I won't explain it, but
Mm.
she connects with the horses, and the horse will select what herbs that they need, and they get tested every 5 weeks, and then they'll get like a bespoke blend for exactly what that horse is needed.
Mm.
And the testimonies that Amelia has told me has been pretty epic. And obviously she has herb tested my horses, and what has come through has been absolutely bang on.
Mm.
So don't want to delve in too deep, because I'd like to get Amelia on to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
it's
it's super cool.
absolutely, well, yeah, it's super cool, but it's really fascinating as well.
Mm.
And I think there are, as you know, as much as it's really important to let horses forage and have that, the opportunity to select. I think it's also good that we have other resources that can help as well,
Mm.
like herb testing or seasonal herb
Mm.
offerings and stuff like that. So yeah, but I think the nut of it is, look around and see what's blooming at the
Open
moment.
your eyes and
Yes.
see. Open your eyes and see.
And
And pay attention to what your horse is looking for.
yeah, I mean, exactly.
if
And
they're
you know,
like binging on something, maybe just look at the properties of it and be like, no, that maybe makes sense. Like we've just said with the dandelions, it makes sense
yeah,
for
it's
this
like
time of
just
year.
said, like, with the power of Google, you know, if you see something and you go, oh, what is that?
Mm.
What is the property behind it?
Mm.
Google it,
Yeah.
because that I genuinely didn't know that about the dandelion. Flipping do now.
Yeah.
I'll be literally picking all the dandelions around the field and going, please eat them.
They will
Don't need
take
to.
them if
They'll
they need
take them
them.
themselves. So
They could come to my garden, it's full of dandelions.
it's fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
I think in this day and age, with the knowledge that we have, or the tools we have to actually just Google, find out
Mm.
what is available, and then I mean, there's even like, is it like iPhone where you can actually take a picture of a flower
Yeah.
and it'll tell you what it is?
Yeah. Yeah. I think just be more aware of what there is for us horses to be able to, some people are very quick to kind of go to the pharmaceutical
Yeah.
route, and we're straight on to giving them medication for things, but actually, you know can we support the horse better by using something natural? Because at the end of the day, most of the pharmaceutical things are the majority of
Started
things are
from a herb.
synthetic, but they've actually been produced from the
Started from a
blueprint of a
herb.
herb, haven't they? But just then
Wait,
like
um,
engineered
yeah,
with chemicals to
yeah,
create the same thing but in a chemical form. So why
yeah,
are we not using the natural form? Because surely that's better utilized by the body, because
yeah,
it actually recognizes what it is.
yeah, yeah. Exactly that. But we won't go down that rabbit hole, because, you know, talking about crystals, and won't go down the pharmaceuticals just yet. But yeah, again, there's a time and a place for everything. But like you say, if you look back, most things started from nature.
Plants, yeah, but I think we are kind of. I feel the world's going back there now.
We're edging that way,
We
aren't
are
we?
edging that way. People are finding alternatives, aren't they? And
Yeah.
realizing that actually it's been done for thousands of years. So,
We're all just getting a little bit witchy woo.
woo woo.
So there's a little bit of our taster,
Taster,
um,
taster of the trees.
a taster of the trees. So yeah, I think we'll leave it there for this week.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for listening to yet another episode of A Little Bit Woo. Please feel free to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, get them to come and join the community.
And get out foraging.
Yeah, do that too. And we'll see you next Tuesday for a little bit more woo.
Woo woo!